It feels like time to build a bridge and take it to the other side. It feels like time to build a bridge. But God, it's been a bumpy ride.
Times once again have changed, and as internet connections are getting faster, there's more broadband, less dial-up. Kids in particular are more likely to be seen with an MP3 player or an iPod in their hand than anything at this point, than to buy a CD. And we're feeling the growing pains of that in the live environment because people are much more likely to stay home and surf the web than they are to come out and pay a cover charge. And now, with the birth of iPod and podcasts and other broadband media, you have a means to take one show or two shows or three shows and capture them and put them out so that people can see your show. It's basically you're bringing the mountain to Muhammad instead of Muhammad to the mountain. How do you get people to your show? Well, don't let them leave the house. And what we're here to prove and show today is how to construct the show from beginning to end, what the technical hurdles are, and how to come out with a professional quality piece of work on the backside that is competitive with what the major labels are putting out. And that's what we've done here at Luna, and we'll be doing at other rooms over the course of 2006, is creating a live experience that's capturable and repeatable.
Masquerade. I'm not your prisoner, not your hostage, not your slave.
It's a really exciting time in music right now, and it's neat to see the artists making decisions for themselves. It's a grassroots movement that's now come above the ground and is starting to really make an impact.
We started working with Audix because of the range of products that they offer and the trueness that they provide on the various instruments that they mic.
When Tom first approached me about supplying some microphones for the Live at Luna Stage webcast, we talked a lot about the instrumentation of the band, we talked about the vocals of the band, and what sort of balance we wanted for the sound of the recording.
I have Don Regan, the professor himself, who is our colorful guitar player and taught me how to play when I was a kid. Actually, was my primal guitar mentor.
Tom found me on the Bowery and took me home and gave me a good hot meal, and he discovered I could play, and that was it.
Again, my theory is if you're going to go out and get somebody to play the same instrument you're playing, they might as well be better than you are. And I'm Rich Haddad, my bass player, is also mixed the record and the engineer, and he's been an incredible partner since he walked into the band.
The signal will never be any clearer or cleaner than when you first capture it. The cleaner you have it recorded, the cleaner the end result can possibly be.
Like Rich does with the audio, Rob handles our MySpace presence and goes out and just single-handedly, through his just sheer likability, creates an online community.
I'd say within 2 weeks of me working on it, I put over 1,000 people on it easy. And then they're sending stuff to their friends, and it's just like this big pyramid thing. It starts at one thing, it just keeps going out like that.
Last but not least, we have Brian Jude, who's the video producer who I've worked with for years.
This project was sort of a dream project for me. I've actually known Tommy and been good friends with him for very many years, and sort of watched Friday's Child evolve, and all along thought, if I could just capture the live show, it would just be an incredible video. And with the new album coming out, the time was just perfectly right.
What we sought to do with this partnership with Audix is to prove a point, and that is, one, you can still make your live show about the audience experience.
When bands are making videos, a lot of times the audio is the last consideration in the video. And at Audix, we feel that the most important thing is capturing the sound of whether it's the instrument or the voice, turning it into electricity in such a way that the sound is as accurate and natural as possible. We chose the OM6 because of the pattern control, because of the low-end response, and quite frankly, because of the sound of the microphone. It's a very natural sounding microphone, very little EQ is needed.
We ended up having to go a little lighter on the instrument side versus the drum side in terms of how many channels we had available to record. So we ended up taking the guitars direct, the bass went direct, we had our vocal mics, and then the rest of the tracks went to the kit.
For the drums, we chose our D-Series microphones. They're machined out of solid aircraft aluminum, so they're very durable, very lightweight, and very small.
A great example would be the Audix D6 bass drum mic. The D6 was a culmination of 3 years of research and development. When a live sound engineer now puts the D6 on the bass drum, without even applying EQ or outboard effects to it, they're going to get an acceptable sound. The Audix D2 was developed for toms, specifically 6-inch, 8-inch, up to about a 14-inch. It has an EQ curve built into it that allows you to literally mic the drum and turn it up without applying a lot of outboard effects or EQ. The Audix D4 extends the low end to be used with a variety of low frequency instruments, so you can use it on floor toms. The all-new Audix i5 we use on snare drum, and the i5 allows the drummer to get their sound first and literally amplify it in the system.
It's a loud, loud thundercloud. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's an albatross hanging over the house. It's a little whispered warning to turn a man into a mouse.
I had enough money basically just to pay for food and to pay the guys for renting their camera for a night. So I wasn't able to see anything that was going on. I just had the guys doing, basically gave each guy a direction of what to do. Okay, you're gonna shoot Tommy, you're gonna shoot Rich, you're gonna shoot Rob, etc., etc. And basically we just kind of had to hope and pray that everybody got the shots that they needed, and we cut it together, and fortunately for the most part it worked.
It's not if, it's when. Things are gonna blow up. And I was surprised. We ran into everything from getting my head split open by a delivery person the morning of the show, to exploding gear, to any problem you could think of.
During the taping of Live at Luna Stage, we had neglected to check a battery in a direct box, and in the middle of one of the songs it just started creating a very loud explosion that essentially bled through all the vocal mics.
Well, I have a habit of where I tend to, when I play, rock and pound my feet hard. As I would pound, it would sound like, God had entered the room.
Awake this Sunday morning.
As you could tell from some of the outtakes from the other camera angles, you get to see us all turning our heads in amazement. What was that?
It kind of sounded like the insurgency had arrived at Luna.
With the ringing in my head.
And at the time, my perception of it was, well, here it goes. It's going down the toilet. It's done.
As opposed to going back and recutting the song, we found ways through editing afterwards and post to fix these little problems. We ended up having to recut a couple of vocal lines just to get around the explosion.
If one thing didn't work, if one shot didn't work, we had another shot that we could cut to.
In the long run, when all was said and done and we saw the final cut, actually, it really wasn't a terrible thing.
Awake this Sunday morning with the ringing in my head.
That is what post is for. It is inevitable that something is going to go wrong. Gremlins pop up all over the place where you least expect them. But either way, the point is to be able to salvage your performance through the editing process. Just because you're recording a live performance doesn't mean that you can't clean these things up and use the footage to the best of your ability. I mean, if there's a slight problem, clean it up. Who cares? What do you can't put it out with mistakes in it.
Remember, you're never going to get a second chance to make a first impression, and you want that first impression to knock the listener right out of their chair.
Tired, jaded, I can't believe how long I waited for you. I waited for you in the window, front door, and I won't see you anymore.
I hear stories from bands that are doing webcasts and podcasts about thousands of people that just find them on places like MySpace and other such websites.
I put the video footage up on it right away, and people seem to just absolutely go nuts over it. And it's also helped out the actual Friday's Child website, and Tommy's gotten more emails and more people signing up for the mailing list.
There's 41 million people on MySpace, and just think of it, if 1% were interested in what you're doing, you had 400,000 people. What venue fits 400,000 people? Wembley? Maybe. And who's going to bear the insurance cost?
It's just one of the greatest promotional tools possible. It's pretty much going to change the industry and how we, listen and view music.
We've built a lot of friends on there, and MySpace bands are getting signed to major deals by manipulating MySpace.
It's your chance to make a statement with your music.
You're bringing the mountain to Muhammad, and that's what we've done here in Live at Luna, and we'll show you over the course of the rest of this video.
I waited for you.